Hello and welcome to Two Tiers Deep, the Women's Cricket Weekly Show, with me, Rosa Simpkin.
And me, Chloe Hill.
I'm the journalist working in all the tiers of women's cricket.
And I'm the cricketer currently playing in the game.
We saw a gap in the market, mainly from a Tier 2 coverage perspective. So we thought, why not start a podcast? To start with, we probably should explain something to you, which otherwise, none of this will make any sense. Last year, the ECB announced Project Darwin, a project to hand the game back to the 18 counties, split into 3 tiers. Tier 1 is the professional level, consisting of the Blaze, Durham, Essex, Lancashire, Hampshire, Somerset, Surrey and Warwickshire. I could go into the depths about why the Blaze aren't knots, but we'll leave that for another time.
And Tier 2 counties are made up of Derbyshire, Glamorgan, Gloucestershire, Kent, Leicestershire, Middlesex, Northamptonshire, Sussex, Worcestershire and Yorkshire.
And then Tier 3 are the national counties.
Before we get started on today's episode, I'd like to give a shout out to our leading partner, Her Game 2. Her Game 2 Cricket partnered the Rosa Talks Ball podcast and all the branches of the show, including Two Tiers Deep. Her Game 2 aims to spread a message of hope and equality throughout sport. Initially only in football, they have recognised that discrimination towards women and girls in sport is not limited only to football, so they have expanded into other sports, including cricket, where they can support, encourage and inspire women in the game. If you'd like to find out more about the work they are doing, you can find them online through their website, hergame2.co.uk/cricket, or you can find them on social media by searching for Her Game 2 Cricket. Thank you as always to Her Game 2 for their support of the podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Two Tiers Deep podcast. And it's a big one. The 2025 English women's season is officially over. However, as ever, there's a pretty stacked agenda for you all. We've had a Tier 1 and a Tier 3 final. Multiple finals in Tier 3 to be exact. World Cup is around the corner. And we've also had some very big life changes going on and some very exciting journeys to take. How are you, Chloe?
I'm good, thanks. Had a lovely week away in Cornwall, so can't complain. Cricket season's officially done. But how are you?
I'm good. Surprisingly have more energy than you'd expect. Enjoying settling into a new city, and I've currently got a lovely view as we record of the coastline, which I cannot complain about.
No, that is the dream. And I know we spoke about it on the last podcast, but a little shout out to where you're at.
Yeah, I moved into Cardiff Uni last week. And yeah, it's been really good to be fair. Haven't actually started any lectures yet though. Because we've just had a little induction week. Not that we have our timetables yet, even though we start on Monday. But as a whole, it's a really great place, met some really cool people, and I'm actually settling in.
Oh, lovely. Cardiff's a lovely place as well, so it's not a bad place to spend the next 3 years for you.
Defo can't complain. Great cricket ground too. I went to Sapphire Gardens for the first time for day 2 of county championship game, and it's a lovely ground.
Yeah, lovely ground. We went there back to back for the last 2 games of the season, of course. Yeah, lovely ground. Weird dimensions, certainly the outfield. But all in all, yeah, a brilliant place to play cricket and watch cricket as well.
You've also got a pretty big couple of months coming up. Do you want to tell the listeners what you're going to be up to?
Yeah, I literally on Tuesday I fly to Dubai. I guess to chase the winter sun, but also cricket related. So some coaching opportunities, some training opportunities for myself, and I guess just to experience the lifestyle out there as well for the next 3 months and fly back just before Christmas.
I mean, you can't complain. You're going to avoid the worst part of the winter. That's the way to live.
Literally, and don't get me wrong, I absolutely love this time of the year in England. Like, I love putting on the comfy clothes, the jumpers, but great opportunity to go take and see what's out there, and then come back, like I said, just for Christmas, and then just in time for my birthday and the new year. So yeah, all in all, looking forward to it.
Should we talk about some cricket, because my word, you wouldn't know the season was over. There's a lot to talk about.
Honestly, we've still got so many cricket matches to discuss, plus the cricket that's coming up in front of us. Exciting times for women's cricket, but also let's just touch on the Tier 1 final, which, may I add, was brilliant.
I mean, after the slight shambles that was our Tier 2 One Day Cup final, it was brilliant to see such a good day in Southampton. And my word, did they put on a good show, Hampshire and Lancashire?
I mean, I'm always for a good final or a good semi-final being a good score and literally taking it down to the last over. And we saw the two semi-finals; they were exceptionally good semi-finals as well, high scoring. But this final to be a high scoring match, it was fantastic to see. And I guess kudos to both teams as well for making the final a good watch for the spectators.
And who saw it coming? Because I certainly did not. Lancashire have overcome what felt like a little bit of a curse during the regional era, and they have picked up their second trophy of the season. They are our Metro Bank One Day Cup Tier 1 League One champions.
I mean, I don't think anyone saw that coming, especially going to the Utility Bowl with Hampshire being in the final. I guess having the home advantage of them knowing the ground, the dimension, they'd be in their home changing room, have all the home comforts in front of them. But Lancashire, what an upset and what a game of cricket and big shout out to Gabby Lewis.
And I mean, we do have to give Lancashire some absolutely huge kudos as well, because they've had a bit of an injury crisis this season. They were without experienced opening batter Eve Jones for the second time in a final. Their, I'd say, key face in the bowling attack in Tara Norris. Taking a look at the scorecard for our final game in the inaugural season of Tier 1 cricket. It was at home for Hampshire at the Utility Bowl, but it was Lancashire that won the toss and decided to field first. Hampshire put on 288 for 6 from their 50 overs. Openers Maya Bouchier and Rihanna Southby got them off to a handy start with 66 and 35 respectively, but Georgia Adams was definitely the star with 77 coming in at 3. Wickets wise, Grace Potts once again shone through with 3 for 47 from 9. Mahika Gore, oh my god, brain. Hannah Jones and Fee Morris picked up 1 each. The amount of Jones in women's cricket gets a tad confusing at times. In response, Lancashire chased the total with just 1.3 overs to spare, ending on 289 for 4 and winning by 6 wickets. And I mean, there was one person who was very much to thank for this. Ireland international Gabby Lewis was 141 not out, carrying her bat of 143 balls. Sarah Smale did also get a cheeky 72 to help her out, but was definitely outshone by her overseas teammate. Freya Davies picked up a wicket in her final game as a professional cricketer, and Mary Taylor was the other wicket taker for Hampshire. We probably should also touch on Gabby Lewis in terms of her position as an Ireland player. Back in the day, it was very common, I'd say, for Irish players to play the English summer. However, as kind of the game has grown, we're seeing teams more and more go to Australians, mainly Australians, actually, a couple of Kiwis. And it's been really good to see her handle this opportunity and take it with both hands.
Yeah, she's been superb for Lancashire. Obviously coming in these last sort of back end games after the 100. And obviously with the loss of Eve Jones at the top, I think she's been absolutely fantastic. And obviously Emma Lamb as well. Lancashire without her after such a successful season she's had. She's of England in the World Cup squad. So for Gabby Lewis to turn out like that in a final, 141 not out, absolutely fantastic.
We also should give a shout out to Freya Davies, who at 29 years old has called time on her professional playing career to go and be a full-time solicitor. And after the season she's had, you have to say it's a loss.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, ever since she lost, or when she lost her England contract and stepped into the domestic game, I think, yeah, she's been great. And obviously her move from the South East Stars, who is now Surrey, to Hampshire, was then obviously the Southern Vipers. She's been great for the game, and I think obviously the professional game will miss her talent and what she does with the ball up top. And yeah, I mean, I wish her every success and luck in her new career that she chooses. But I guess that's just the way it goes, unfortunately, in the women's game with England contracts, professional contracts, and those next stages in life.
Having a look at Freya's career, to give her a bit of kudos, she represented England 35 times, making her debut in 2019. In most recent times, she was with Hampshire and Southern Vipers, as well as Welsh Fire in the 100. And we wish her all the luck in the world for her new adventures. And yeah, I'm sure everyone at Hampshire will miss her very much.
Moving on to our second final of the weekend, there was 2 matches in Tier 3. So we have the Metrobank One Day Cup Women's League 3 Division 2 final, and we also had the Division 1 final. In the Division 2 final, we saw Shropshire take on Oxfordshire, and the winner of this match gains promotion into Division 1 of League 3. The scores were Oxfordshire were put into bat, and there were 167 all out. And cricket Shropshire, as they are known on Play Cricket, but Shropshire to everyone else, won in the 33rd over, only 5 down, 168 for 5. Let's see if there's anyone who deserves a little shout out. Oh, there is. For Shropshire, opened the batting, Ava Clive, 105 off 111 balls. So she has put her team in a fantastic position to win that game for Shropshire. A little bit like a Gabby Lewis at the top. Yeah. And moving on to the Division 1 final, where we saw Devon take on Berkshire. Devon won the toss and elected to bowl first, which meant Berkshire were batting first. And Berkshire posted 214 for 7 after 50 overs. A shout out to Izzy Storer, who's the Berkshire captain, for 54. And then the other batters who contributed were Poppy Camplin, Shristi Patel, and Eliza Briscoe. And in return, Devon's chase was pretty sad. They were 84 all out. A shout out to Shayna with 4 overs, 4 wickets for 7 runs. And Freya Johnson, 6 overs, 1 maiden, 3 for 10. They are the pick of the bowlers for Berkshire. So a massive congratulations to Berkshire, who are the Metrobank One Day Cup Women League 3 Division 1. And Shropshire will be moving up into that league for next year after winning the Division 2 final. God, what an absolute tongue twister all of that was. They don't make it easy, do they? But big congratulations to all of the Tier 3 teams in their first year as well in this new setup.
But we should definitely highlight again Ava Clive. I mean, what a knock in a final that is 105. And I'd say in a lot of ways it can be much harder for the lower tiers to get higher totals. Hear me out on this, because the pitches you're playing on most of the time at the end of the season, very temperamental. So massive kudos to her.
Oh my goodness, I need to give a shout out to a Shropshire bowler as well. I've just seen this, so I do apologise. But Amy Griffiths, 9 overs, 2 maidens, 6 for 38. A massive shout out to Amy Griffiths from Shropshire.
Amy Griffiths, that is superb. I mean, wowzers. In
So
a
who's getting the
final.
player of the match? Who's getting the player of the match for Shropshire when you've got a sixer and 100?
I mean, they've got to share it, haven't they? You can't choose for that.
No, big well done for both of those. And another big congratulations to Berkshire for winning the Division 1 final.
I mean, it's been really good to see Tier 3 kind of thriving this season, actually. I mean, we spoke earlier on in the season when we were having issues with the Tier 2 finals day, and you were talking about how much fun the Tier 3 finals day was in contrast, as an example.
Definitely. I think it's been a learning curve for everyone this season in Project Darwin from Tier 1 to Tier 3. But obviously Tier 3 having so many teams to try and, I guess, battle and sort out fixtures and, I guess, make it work for all of the minor counties. And from observations and from seeing results, it looks like it's been a great success. So, yeah, a big shout out to all of the Tier 3 counties who have had to do it pretty much all on their own. So, yeah, well done.
And I mean, looking at Project Darwin in 2025, we'd like to give a little bit of attention to our main takeaways so far. And I guess the first question is, Chloe, is there anything in particular you've been really pleased about this season that you hope stays the same going forward?
Yeah, one thing I've certainly enjoyed, if we start at the top with Tier 1, is the matches, how much more competitive they've been, high scoring, the live streams. So, yeah, I think just for a starting point, that would be some really good takeaways from Project Darwin this year if I look at Tier 1. What about yourself?
So I was writing on a packet of blue tack and I was like, why am I writing on a packet of blue tack? I've literally got a pad of paper right here. Um, I'd agree. I think one of the biggest issues in previous seasons has been how much of a gap there's been. So I've really enjoyed that. I've also really enjoyed seeing these women's counties feel like they have a real identity and feel like they've been part of a club. Because I think that, for me, was one of the biggest problems of the regional era, in that teams literally had no identity. Fans didn't know the context of the teams, they didn't know who they were supposed to support. Whereas this year, we've seen this real kind of connection, and there's fan bases and genuine fans that are turning up week on week to watch these players.
Yeah, 100%. And I would say that's through all the tiers, not just the Tier 1 counties. I think Tier 2 have created, I guess, a good following and a good support network at their counties. I guess some shout outs to Yorkshire and Glamorgan who will be moving up to Tier 1. But just the little things like they've done is that at the main grounds, the away changing room is the women's home changing room, and they've made it specifically for them. Which I think is absolutely fantastic, and for the clubs to be back in their Tier 2 sides. I still think there's areas to improve on in Tier 2 in terms of are all the teams back in their women's side, but that's a story for another day. And I guess from a Tier 3 perspective, I guess just seeing the results we've seen in the finals days and seeing how the T20 finals day went, the 50 over finals day went, yeah, I think it's just been a great season all in all for all the Tier 3 counties as well.
I'm going to add a question in that isn't on the plan. What has been your highlight of the season and your low light of the season? This can be kind of related to cricket. You can be related to what you've seen, genuinely anything.
Well, that's certainly put me on the spot, hasn't it? What has been my highlight? What has been my highlight? I'd have to certainly say I'm going to name two. A highlight's obviously the tier 1 and tier 2 finals day, the viewing on the live streams, and I guess in the grounds, just how many more people were there in attendance. A big one that shouts out to me is the women's tier 1 Vitality Blast finals day at the Oval. Just what a success that day was, of the stadium being filled, the live stream being jam-packed. Obviously in tier 2 finals days, probably haven't got the stadium as filled up as we'd like, but the views certainly have leapt from previous years in the regional system. And I guess if I look at a playing perspective, it's probably making the semi-finals in the 50 overs with Northants after a tricky season for me personally. What was the other one? A low light or a low light of the season? I guess if I'm being brutally honest, finals day has done really well for tier 1, but finals day for tier 2 and tier 3 needs to be done a lot better. The scheduling of where it's at, what is available at the grounds that they're at, they would just be a big thing for me. Just seeing how successful the finals day was at Wormsley in the tier 3 for the T20 Blast, seeing how successful it was at the Oval in tier 1, and then hearing the disappointments of what was available on the tier 2 finals day. So I still think there's a long way to go in terms of getting it right with tier 2. But certainly it was a good season all in all as well. And I guess from myself personally, I think it'd just be probably the disappointing who says ending, I don't know, potentially the ending to me playing at Worcestershire for 9 years and just shy of 100 senior caps for them. But who knows? Never say never.
Agree with that. Never say never. I mean, I agree with you. My low light was being at Northampton for the tier 2 T20 finals day. We'll get that out of the way straight away. And I've also got 2 highlights. Same as you, the tier 1 Blast finals day at the Oval. That was really special to see and to be a part of. And also just the environment surrounding the day, with the buzz around England at the Euros and the excitement just surrounding women's sports generally. That was pretty special. And also another one at the Oval as well, funny that, is the 100 eliminator, Davina Perrin. Watching how engrossed nearly 17,000 people were in her innings, like the support she got when she reached 100. And I was sat there thinking, I was at the community ground for the last one day cup game before the 100 when she got 100, and comparing that environment to the environment at the 100, like it was something pretty special.
I mean, I didn't realise you were talking about the 100 as well. I was just going off the tiered system. But yeah, no, I completely agree. That 100 for Davina Perrin in the Eliminator was, yeah, fantastic to watch as a player and as a fan, a supporter of the women's game. And yeah, wow, what a day.
But with the good comes the ugly. And now it's time to think, is there anything from this season, from a tier perspective, that you think really needs to change ahead of next year and also future seasons?
Yeah, if I start from the bottom, from tier 3, I think there is too long of a gap between each match. So you could be playing a 50 over match one Sunday, but your next county 50 over match could be 2-3 weeks time. It just wasn't consistent enough, but the matches in itself were great and a good standard, but I just don't think there's enough consistency of matches in tier 3 with the scheduling. And I understand that they want to, I guess, support the women's club matches, so you need to find that right balance. But I guess that's someone's problem to sort out from above, not mine. Yeah, what about yourself? I mean, I've got some for tier 2 and tier 1, but I'll listen to you first.
I think the biggest one for me is kind of two things that link together, and that is the broadcasting and coverage of all three tiers, actually, but especially tier two. I think a lot of the tier three counties have done a much better job at advertising themselves than the tier two counties have this season, ironically. And with that, the engagement from the ECB with the fans, and also some of the messaging surrounding tier two cricket, a bit like when on the Sunday when we had those two blast finals days we had three in 2 days actually. And I'd spent Saturday watching Middlesex lift the tier two title, and I turn up on Sunday at the Oval, and there's loads of branding saying the first ever women's blast finals day. And I think that kind of sums up some of the attitude towards the tier two game this season, and the fact that Northants did nothing to advertise the tier two T20 finals day. Worcestershire did nothing to advertise the tier two one day finals day. It was just pretty poor all round.
Yeah, and just jumping on from that side, obviously all three tiers are sponsored and have got the name of Metro Bank. Now, if we look at the Metro Bank Instagram page and social media page, they were blowing tier one finals day out like there was no tomorrow. But Yorkshire against Glamorgan in the tier 250 over finals day, the day before or the week before, there was absolutely nothing on the Instagram page. And obviously I went on that to have a little look, and I think it's just disappointing that they're obviously being named as the sponsors of this competition for tier one, tier two, and tier three, but we're not supporting tier two and tier three to the public. It's sort of like you got to go and do your research yourself, and you got to go and find it yourself. But don't get me wrong, they do a fantastic job for tier one. But when you've got the likes of Yorkshire and Glamorgan moving up to tier one, let's shout about it. Let's post about it. Let's gain new followers for these teams. So that was certainly one for me.
I completely agree. And I often like to compare it to the county championship, because you've got Div 1 of the county championship and Div 2 of the county championship. But the county championship account on social media is very actively engaged in both divisions. And I'd say that we've got the tier one and tier two in women's cricket is quite similar to that idea, minus the promotion and relegation, which is a whole other conversation. So it'd be good to see the Metro Bank account engage with other counties. I don't know whether it's them or whether it's counties not asking to collaborate with them. But either way, we need to see some more coverage of tier two cricket, because we can't risk repeating the failures of the past.
Yeah, I think certainly from a player perspective, I've seen tier two counties try and tag and collaborate with the Metro Bank account, and unless you're Yorkshire or Glamorgan, who are moving up to tier one next year or the following year, there's no collaboration or not accepting that invitation, I guess, to be out there and scream and shout in front of the public.
That's something that we'll hope improves next season as kind of more understanding arises surrounding the tier two game. We do need to talk about some big headlines from the world of women's cricket, and starting with a very central one to the English game. Kate Cross announced on the Nobles Cricket podcast that she has lost her England Central contract. After winning 3 domestic trophies this summer, the 100 with the Northern Superchargers and the T20 County Cup and One Day Cup with Lancashire, what was your reaction to this announcement?
I mean, I was certainly shocked when I heard it. She is the ultimate professional, and she has been such a pinnacle player in that England women's team for so many years. And I just feel like she's such an experienced player and such a mature player that these new generation seam bowlers should be working with her and I guess using her brain and Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit speechless, and I still am a little bit speechless with it. But I think she sort of said it in a podcast previous as well. She said something about she's not sure what Lottie thinks of her, but she doesn't seem to think that Lottie likes her. And I guess that's sort of a sad thing to hear. But I guess also Charlotte Edwards or Lottie was in the same playing era as Kate Cross as well. So I don't know, are we seeing sort of that transition fade maybe of the players who have played with Charlotte Edwards who are still in that England side slowly being faded out? Or are we just wanting to pick the new generation of fast bowlers and throw them in at the deep end?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think she'll be the only one. I think people might be a bit surprised about how many youngsters we see coming in for that Home World Cup next summer. And it's difficult because Crossy has done so much for the English game, and she's been at the head of that bowling attack for as long as I can remember, in all honesty. Even when you had the absolute machines that were Catherine Sciver-Brunt and also Anya Shrubsole, Crossy still found her way into the 11. And it feels like a real end of the era, and it'll be interesting to see what she does next. I'd be really disappointed if she stepped away from the game. I think she's such a positive role model for these youngsters coming through at Lancashire and also more generally. I mean, and she clearly still has it in her. She's been at the head of two teams that have been incredibly successful.
And yeah, I think a big one as well is that she captained that Island series last year. I mean, for you to go, here you go, can you go out and captain this series, to a year later, let's take your England contract off you. I really, really hope that she obviously gets the support that she needs. But I also hope to see her in a Lancashire shirt for the next couple of seasons, because she has got so much to give to the game as a quality seam bowler, but also a very, very, very good domestic batter who, given these opportunities now, we certainly will probably see Crossy sort of come back as this all-rounder, instead of being a top order, but taking the new ball for England and batting at 9, 10, 11. So yeah, I mean, this hopefully will give her the other opportunities for Lancashire, and fingers crossed we keep seeing her do well in that, and also I guess follow her broadcasting journalist career as well a little bit more.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's brutal. And you've heard her speak about how her biggest problem about it was how quickly it's come about. And you mentioned there with the Island series and how heavily involved she was then, and also how much of a positive role model she was in that series to all of these young players coming through. I just really, we both hope that she's okay. And we both hope to see her back involved next season. But talking about England, a former England head coach has popped up again, Lisa Keightley, who most recent success was with Northern Superchargers, managing Crossy during that tournament, and has just been appointed as the Mumbai Indians head coach, replacing the now England head coach, Charlotte Edwards. It's a small world, isn't it, in women's cricket?
Oh, women's cricket is certainly a small world of who knows who and who goes where. And yeah, I mean, for Lisa Keightley to come back into the women's game, and I think quite a lot of the players respected her when she was the England coach, and I think she done quite a lot as well when she was at Loughborough, in and around Loughborough at the England Development Centre. So yeah, she's clearly a well thought of coach, and hopefully she can continue the success that Charlotte Edwards had at Mumbai Indians.
It will also be interesting to see who she brings in, because obviously she's built a lot of relationships now in recent times. Obviously, when she was England head coach to Superchargers most recently, will there be some niche former of her England players pop up? Will there be some of her Northern Superchargers players pop up, like your Davina Perrins? It will just be very interesting to see what goes down.
Yeah, what a story that would be. Davina Perrin getting called in or selected into Mumbai Indians. That certainly will be one for the headlines to see, and it could happen and it can happen. Certainly at her age now she's at, we see Indian or the Indian cricket team, and especially in the WPL, support their young Indian domestic players. So I don't see why not. We can't see them support some of our young domestic up and coming prospects for the future in their competition.
I'd be very shocked if Izzy Wong doesn't pop up again, given it was Keightley who brought her in, wasn't it? In the first place.
Yeah, exactly. And she's enjoyed her stint out in the women's IPL, so we'll see. I've also just realised we forgot another big headline to discuss we'll talk about in the domestic game in England, and that is the movement of a Blaze player with an England contract to Yorkshire, who are moving into the Tier 1 next year. Can you remember the name of the player, Rosa?
Sarah Glenn! Oh my God, how did we not even clock this?
Yeah, so Yorkshire obviously are making some big signings ready for their movement into Tier 1 next year. And I think reading somewhere, potentially it might have been in the Blaze article about Sarah Glenn moving, is that she wanted to get more opportunities with the bat. And obviously Blaze being so successful with the batters and the players they've got, she wasn't probably going to bat any higher than 7. But moving to Yorkshire and opening up another opportunity in the domestic game for her to be bowling regularly, but also moving up that batting order and getting some more time out in the middle. But yeah, that's an exciting move that probably wasn't on my bingo card.
I mean, they posted a teaser the morning of the announcement, and I'm looking at that teaser and I'm thinking, Sarah Glenn. And then I was like, oh, maybe Katie Levick. And I was like, that would be even more controversial for other reasons, so probably not. But I think Glenda is a phenomenal cricketer. She's probably becoming one of my favourites. I'm a bit biased as a leg spinner myself, I have to say. But I think she's exactly the kind of head they need in their dressing room. One of the things that I was concerned about for Yorkshire coming up is they've got a lot of spinners, but they're all quite young and inexperienced spinners. So having a head like Sarah Glenn involved, hopefully on a week in, week out basis, will be massively helpful for them coming up.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess it also opens up a bit more of a new opportunity for her to show her mature side in the game. And who knows, obviously, with Lindsay Smith being brought into this World Cup side, and we've seen Sarah Glenn being left out in other England series in recent times under Charlotte Edwards. Could this be a smart move for later down the line once the new contracts and central contracts come out?
I mean, that will be an interesting question that we'll hopefully have an answer to soon. But another one in the world of cricket, and we've seen another potential injury lost ahead of the World Cup. This time for our hosts, India, as Arundhati Reddy picked up what looked like a pretty nasty knee injury during India's game against England 2 days ago.
A 50 over warm-up match that we saw England perform very well with the bat. And India not so very well, which I guess is surprising. But yeah, that was a free hit very hard back by Heather Knight. And it looked to be sort of knee, shin bone sort of area. So yeah, I mean, hopefully she's all okay and can rest up and be back ready for India's, I guess, first game of the World Cup. But yeah, that was a hefty blow. But on another note, it was great to see Heather Knight back out there and performing with the bat and doing exceptionally well.
I mean, Heather's been absolutely smashing it since she's returned from injury. And it's safe to say that if I'm a bowler and there's anyone I don't want to be on the receiving end for a blow off their bat, it's Heather Knight. She hits the ball hard. But England, talking about warm-up games, played 2 games against New Zealand, winning both, and very comfortably, as we say, beat India in that warm-up game a couple of days ago. Having a very quick whistle-stop tour look at that game, India won the toss and decided to field first. For England, all of the runs pretty much came from one place, or 2 places, let's say. Natsira Brunt retired out on 122 from 105, and Emma Lamb with 81 from 59. Amy Jones and Heather Knight were handy too, with 39 and 37. England reached 339 for 9 from their 50 overs, bowling India out for 187 in response. Lindsay Smith and Sophie Eccleston, the left-arm duo, with 2 wickets each. And then Lauren Bell, Lauren Filer and Charlie Dean with 1. And it's important to note, Chloe, that Natsira Brunt is bowling. She has a ball in hand, which I think is probably a relief for everyone involved.
Interesting to note that she took the new ball alongside Lauren Bell. I guess obviously we've gone quite spin heavy in this squad. And I guess it was going to be important for Natsira Brunt to be back bowling and for her to take that new ball. I guess that sort of justifies why Kate Cross wasn't taken with this squad as well. So yeah, I mean, that's probably a key point for me to see what sort of role Nat is going to take going forward in this World Cup with the ball.
And it's almost that balance, isn't it? Because she's our best batter and you need her to be performing with bat. She's captaining. It almost feels like maybe opening the bowling would be one thing too many. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah, it'd be interesting, I guess, to see how Lauren Filer and Emma Arlott are going to be utilised in this World Cup alongside Lauren Bell, who is probably going to be the standout opening bowler in majority of the matches. And then I guess how are they going to use the spinners of Eccleston, Glenn, Smith and Dean, which will be interesting to watch. And then also we know that Emma Lamb can bowl off spin, Alice Capsey can bowl off spin and Heather Knight can bowl her spin. So there's certainly plenty of choices with the ball.
I'm very glad I'm not the one who has to make these selection decisions because I can imagine they're not particularly fun meetings to be a part of.
No, I'm sure there'll be tough decisions and tough conversations to have with the players, especially for that first World Cup match as well. Shall we move on and just discuss that this has been, I guess we didn't even do the full season. We've done probably just over half a season of podcasts, of coming up with this idea, supporting Tier 2, and shout out to Tier 3, and obviously we follow Tier 1. But I guess just to highlight the importance of giving Tier 2 that platform it deserves. And yeah, it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. What about you?
It's been quite the ride. We discussed it before the season. And then I finished my exams and we were like, oh, should we get this idea rolling? And it's been really rewarding. I mean, we've done all sorts. Live podding from one of your games. We had the absolute legend that was Daggers on. We've had a lot of women's cricketers on as guests, and it feels like we are doing what we set out to do.
Yeah, it's certainly been a joy being a player in Tier 2, to sort of hear from other player perspective in Tier 2 that they're absolutely loving the coverage we're giving them. And yeah, I think it needs to be done more. And I'm so glad that we can do it from our side. And hopefully going forward next season, we can do bigger and better things.
The only way is up, as they say. And there are some quite exciting things coming your guys' way that we are currently scheming about behind the scenes to give even more of a platform to the Tier 2 and 3 game than we are already.
Can't wait. It's going to be exciting.
On that note, unless you have anything, do you have anything to add?
No, but we probably should say that potentially there might be a little bit of a break for the next week or couple of weeks in terms of a new podcast. But there certainly will be one coming soon over the next month or so. But it won't be weekly now the matches have finished.
We will keep you all in the loop, as Chloe says, and I promise you there'll be plenty of things to keep you occupied in the meantime. But that's all we're going to tell you for now.
So enjoy your first full week of uni when you get your timetable. Enjoy editing this pod.
Enjoy heading off to Dubai.
Thank you. I look forward to the 40-degree sun while you enjoy the cold winter, dark, early evenings.
And the Cardiff rain.
Exactly. And I'm sure on our next episode, I will be in sunny Dubai and you will be in the middle of starting your course.
Indeed. And on that note, we will catch you all later.
Thanks for listening to this week's Two Tiers Deep. If you'd like to find me, Chloe Hill, you can find myself on Instagram with a new Instagram page covering this podcast at 2 Tiers Deep CH. Or I'll pass you over Rosa to find herself at
Rosa Talks Ball. Or if you have any questions, you can contact us on rosatalksball@gmail.com. And please don't hesitate to get in touch.